Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakahakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, who are to be the new government here on earth set up by who the world fraudulently and falsely called JC. His name is Yahushai. And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing like mainstream tries to fabricate and lie about. And to the rest of the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another brutal lesson in truth. And despite what you feel or think about it, the 12 tribes of Israel primarily make up the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who were scattered through chattel slavery. All right. And if you don't think the Latinos and the natives were put into slavery, that means you do not know history. You should just hush and listen. On the screen is basically 3 different rabbis telling you that Christendom is Esau, Edom. So we're going to start going back. Before I play the videos, first Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, and that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So in his stock, his race, his people, Alexander reigned the first over the brown-skinned people of Persia, over the Medes, the people that were in Greece. They were not pale people. All right, because people like to attribute Greece as to being people that look like this guy on the screen. And that's not true. That's after the fact. The part of Asia that they now call Europe was full of brown-skinned people, swarthy people, chocolate, different shades of brown. And he made wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch as the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted in his heart and was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So while he was yet alive, Alexander of Macedon, the Macedonian, the Edomite, parted his land among his Edomite generals. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils multiplied in the earth, and the infighting and the never-ending wars which come from Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Now let's let the rabbi reinforce or prove, what I've said to be true. The name of this video is Edom is Rome and Christendom by Rabbi Tovia Singer. Okay, so we're going to start right about there. Let's play it.
After Alexander the Great's, he died fairly young, and 4 generals would take over his kingdom, the Greek Empire. The 4th kingdom is like nothing else. That's Edom. And it's so much like nothing else that it caused Daniel to be...
The 4th kingdom is Edom, or Esav, as some of them will say. That's all you need to hear. You can go and watch this whole video and watch this very boring, saltless individual tell half-truths, because what he's doing, he's talking about Edom as if he's not Edom. Because the Holy Scriptures tell you clearly that the Lord would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Remember, Yahweh Shai, who the world fraudulently and falsely calls JC, he comes back to a world ruled by Edom. Okay? That's Isaiah the 63rd chapter. All right? The Lord comes back to a world ruled by Edom. At this point, everyone knows that the Israelis are pulling the strings here in America. Almost every government entity, whether it be medical, judicial, entertainment, they're at the top of. They're the CEOs and the presidents of everything that has to do with America. The banks, music, movies, all of it. Law enforcement, the top people, the heads are always them. Okay? With the whole Epstein, yeah. So American government has completely been compromised and hijacked, and they do as they're told. Exodus 17 and 16. For because Yahweh hath sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So Amalek has pulled off a huge, identity theft. Okay, that's what they have done. Not so successfully. Because the truth of the matter is they were being challenged all the time. We just now live in a time where, with social media and all that, it's being heard. But I have many books that were written in the early 19th century and in the 18th century where people were screaming this from the mountaintops, but no one was hearing them because guess who controlled, the media, the papers, and the news radio and all that. Yeah. Okay. And they prescribed laws to set themselves up to be in position to do that. How they created languages and created made up racial terminology, all sorts of things to hide themselves and cover up who the true people were. This is Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? All right. So let's go back. Now he said it out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. Let's go to this video now. With these rabbis.
Celebrate the 12 days of
Damn
fitness
commercial,
at Planet
son
Fitness.
of a
Join for $1 down,
fucking- I
$15
can't
a
stand
month. Offer
YouTube.
ends December 19th.
I
The
remember when
Western world and the Roman Empire also gave birth to Christianity. And everything that we read, it's so funny that this is one of the few times in the Torah that
wait a minute, let's go back a little bit.
to the Western world and the Roman Empire that out of Esau's loins really did become the foundations of the Roman Empire, which gave birth to the Western world, and the Roman Empire also gave birth to Christianity.
So what he just admitted to you is that white people are Edom. Self-proclaimed, the made-up terminology that they use, call themselves white, are Edom. You can see the name and the title of this video. Edom is Rome, ? The West in Christianity, ? They talk, the tough talk walk from idolatry to embracing one God. And he is not the God of the Israelis or of Christendom, of Christianism. All that was made up by Esau, Edom. Remember, the Israelites never called themselves Christians. Other people did. They were first called Christians in Antioch. Okay? So, let me get another scripture. This is Deuteronomy 33:29. And it reads, Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon his high places. I'm treading upon their high places right now, simply by speaking the truth. And then they'll try to hide behind an anti-Semitic shield and all, and just disregard the facts, disregard the proof, disregard what their own rabbis are saying. Look, you got 3 different Jewish almanacs and encyclopedias going back to 1905, 1925, and 1971. And all three of them are practically telling you that modern day Jewry is Edom. And all of a sudden, you know, now they're because all the way up until the 1800s, prior to the 1800s, they admitted that they were converts. So I'm going to play, let me find this video. I know I have it in here somewhere. Where are you, lady? Oh, come on. It was a video of a woman breaking down Eliezer ben Yehudi and his creation of the Yiddish language to try to fit the narrative. How he made and why Yiddish is not, and the differences between the pronunciations of ancient Hebrew and come on, man. Well, you know what? No, I don't want to do that one because that's another video of a white guy telling you that Edomites saw the problem. You know what? We will play this for now. Why not? It's short. Yeah, it's 3 minutes long. Wasn't what I was looking for.
White people. Wounded Knee, white people. Asian internment camps, white people. There's white people. Slavery, white people. Jim Crow, white people. Lynchings, white people. Trail of Tears, white people. Wounded Knee, white people. Asian internment camps, white people. The vast majority of gun violence, white people. You see a trend? January 6th, white people. Ahmaud Arbery, 3 white guys. George Floyd, white guys. The felon in the White House, a white man. You see a trend? But somehow, the white man has convinced stupid, uneducated, trailer park trash, 3-teeth inbreds, white supremacists, Triple K members, that the brown people picking your almonds and your walnuts and your lettuce and your avocados, somehow they're the fucking problem. They're not. We are. And until we grasp that, we can blame and sit here with all of these left bro podcasters and the Pod Save America and the Midas Touches and talk about, oh, it's the cost of eggs. It's the cost of gas. Fuck it is. No, it's not. Why haven't we had a woman president? Why did we go from a black president to the most corrupt white man in the history of our country? Why did the majority of white people, the only demographic that didn't vote for Harris, and that same demographic didn't vote for Zohran Mamdani? Because we're the problem. Because there is a chunk
And he's absolutely right. Esau Edom is the problem in the entire world. They really are the problem. Okay, let me hunt down this video because I know I have it. Let's try it this way. There it is. Call Halo Yahweh Bashem Shai. Let's pull her up. And we'll play this one and then we'll let her bring out the receipts and I'll bring out a few more scriptures and we'll wrap this one up. Wait a minute.
Sound Semitic.
proof they aren't the people of the book.
Why doesn't Israeli Hebrew sound Semitic at all?
אנחנו לא נוכל לחיות בארץ הזאת עם אסלאם או נאצי אחד שכזה נשאר בעזה.
Do you think because it wasn't created by someone who was Semitic? Yes, I said created. Let's get into it. So modern Hebrew, or Israeli Hebrew, has only been around for around 150 years or so. Before that, ancient Hebrew, or biblical Hebrew, was a non-spoken language
The Phoenician
for around
form.
2,000 years. It was mostly used liturgically, so for prayer and for sacred texts, and sometimes in poetry or literature, but it was not spoken at all. In fact, the Talmud was not even written in Hebrew. It was written in Aramaic.
Aramaic
So
is
when
not
was
Hebrew.
Revived to what we hear today. So the revival of Hebrew as a spoken language is largely attributed to a Russian dude named Eliezer Yitzhak Perlman. He was an Ashkenazi Jewish linguist who later changed his name to Eliezer ben Yehuda, of course, and he was obsessed with this idea of reviving Hebrew as a spoken language. Now, his native language was Yiddish, as was the language of most Central and Eastern European Jewish folks at the time. And so what he did is he took the Sephardic Jewish pronunciation, and of course he overlaid that with the European pronunciations, heavily influenced by Yiddish, Russian, Polish, and German. And so because of that, for instance, Israeli Hebrew doesn't roll their R's like Semitic languages do. So they don't say ra, they say ra. For instance, like Israel, right? And so that's why they sound more German, for instance, when they say hummus instead of hummus. Another example is they don't have the Semitic sound ah. Instead, they have to say because they don't know how to say So instead of saying aliyah, they say aliyah. And so that's why the accent sounds so flat as opposed to Arabic-based dialects or ancient Hebrew. And by the way, this whole idea of Hebrew becoming a spoken language was actually frowned upon by the Orthodox and devout Jewish community because to them,
Well, that's
Hebrew was
enough
meant to
right
be
there.
for prayer
Let me get another receipt just to back up what she
and
said.
sacred ceremony.
Let's
It
get
wasn't
a
meant to be-
receipt. And nope, not there. Let's go to the evidence folder. I know that one's going to be toward the bottom. And there it is. And this is from the Winston Simplified Encyclopedia Bible, 1931, with biblical references. But there it is. Yiddish. Screenshot it if you don't have it. It says German Jewish. Remember, ish means to be like, like blue, but not really blue. Blue-ish. Right? A kind of mixed German and Hebrew language spoken by JOOs and written or printed in Hebrew characters. So they're using the Aramaic, which is not even Hebrew characters. Aramaic, she just told you, Aramaic is not Hebrew. So they're using the Aramaic form of writing and attached the ancient Paleo or Phoenician Hebrew sounds to Aramaic, which is why I just completely disrespect Aramaic. I have a hard time. It's like, shame on me for that, because I know we have to learn it to do the, but it's just so disrespectful that they use this form of language, and then attached it to themselves. That's exactly what they did. They made it up. It's not true. All right, because the actual Hebrew, it's not this. All right, that's the Aramaic form. That's Aramaic. It's not Hebrew. They've attached, they've kind of mixed it. Okay, the actual Hebrew is written this way. That's Hebrew. That's the ancient Hebrew, not the Aramaic. And it has a different sound to it. That's the Lord's Prayer right there. Let's, but yeah. So when you're breaking down the name, and of course, Hebrew and Aramaic, both being Shemitic, not Semitic, they made that up too. Languages is written from right to left, not left to right. All right, now we pronounce it, you see on the bottom, the pronunciation is left to right, but when it's written right to left. Okay? So let's get a few more scriptures. This is the book of Ezekiel 36, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord power, because the enemy hath said against you, aha! Even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Okay? They've taken the holy place, the ancient high place. Ezekiel 36 and 5. And this is a scripture that they'll try to say it was already done. When? There's no yeah. Ezekiel 36 and 5. Therefore, thus saith the, it's funny how they'll admit that Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Jeremiah are full of future prophecies, but then they'll try to say that, this happened already. If you question them, they avoid this scripture like the plague. Ezekiel 36 and 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power. Surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, Esau, Edom, Esav, as these rabbis call them, which I have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with the despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. So the rest of Edom didn't appoint the Holy Land into their possession. Amalek did. All right? Because these guys, okay, these three rabbis on the screen here, these three men, are pointing the finger at white Christendom. All right? At Edomite Christianity, Christianism, as being Edom. They're throwing you under the bus. They're doing the same thing that Pete Hedgewood did with that admiral. All right, let's go to 2 Ezra 6:27. And it reads, for evil shall be put out, deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakahakwadash Kwam Yasarala Abba. I feel so vindicated. That woman basically just told you and gave you the receipts on everything I've been saying. Shalom, Abba.